Right, so we have renders of the iPhone 14 Pro based on CADs, and this gives us a rough idea of the design to expect. And so let's delve into it guys, but first make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours, and with that being said, let's just talk in. Right, so we have two different sources for these renders. The first one is XLeak7 and the second one is Apple Lab. But to be fair, these renders are very similar for the most part, so let's talk about them together. So there are a few things that stand out immediately about these renders. The first thing is the dual hole punch front we've been hearing about for weeks now. So yes, it does seem pretty likely we're going to see this change with the iPhone 14 Pro series. Now the key thing to note with these renders is actually the size of that module, because it's pretty massive, and actually comparing this to the notch, it actually eats into the display a little more than the notch, which is a little odd, but we have heard about taller displays coming to the Pro models, and so this is likely why that's the case. And to be honest, I'm still pretty mixed on this, because while it does look slightly better than the notch, the fact we're not getting any real estate back by using this design kinda makes this change a little pointless. But I guess for those who are bored of the notch, this change would be appreciated. Anyways, another change we see with these renders that we saw with earlier CADs are thinner bezels, and yes, I've got to agree, they look great. Now moving to the sides and the back of the device, we can see some initially rumoured design elements not in these renders. For example, on the sides, there is no iPhone 4 star sandwich design. Instead, it looks virtually identical to the iPhone 12 and 13 Pro. And to be honest, I'm actually kind of happy about this, because I've actually not been a massive fan of the iPhone 4 design, and like I've said in previous videos, the glass wrapping around the sides is going to make this phone way more fragile, so the fact we're sticking with the current design is a way better move. And also, I just realised ceramic shield only works on flat displays, and so if the iPhone 4 design was to come to the 14s and the glass wrapped around the sides, we would lose this tech and the displays would be a lot less durable with the 14. So yes, I've got to be honest, this part of the render makes complete sense. However, I do want to mention that Apple Labs renders do have the same glossy stainless steel on the sides, whereas XLeak7 use a matte finish on the sides that resembles titanium, and so I do hope XLeak7 is right, and we do see titanium with the iPhone 14 series, because it's going to be much lighter than stainless steel, but also of course it would get rid of the horrible glossy finish. Oh, and another thing to note, much like we saw with the original CADs, there are no circular buttons here, which to be honest, I'm pretty glad about. Anyways, let's finally delve into the camera bump on the back. So of course, in previous renders, mainly from John Prosser, the iPhone 14 Pro series was supposed to get a flat camera bump. But then we got some initial CADs suggesting that would not be the case, and now we get to see that in these renders. So apparently the module is going to increase even further with the iPhone 14 Pro series. We could see an increase of 15 to 20%, which makes a massive difference. In fact, Apple Lab tells us the actual camera bump is 4.35mm now, and the thickness of the actual device with the camera bump is 12.2mm. So yes, the flat camera bump rumours were most likely false, and just like I thought, Apple's more likely to increase the size of the camera bump on the iPhone 14 Pros. And yeah, this just makes sense, because with every new iPhone, the camera bump has been increasing, but also do remember we're getting a new 48MP main sensor with the Pro models, and so that's most likely why there's an increase. And by the way, the actual camera module is going to take up more space on the back of the iPhone, and that's a bit worrying, because the module on the regular 13 Pro already seems pretty cramped, and so to increase it even further does mean this iPhone is not going to look very proportional on the back. But yeah, that's pretty much everything to note with these renders, and yeah, it's safe to say the initial rumours about this phone were completely bogus, and this phone is going to be very similar to the iPhone 12 and 13 Pro. And to be fair, like I've said in previous videos, Apple does usually follow a 3-year design cycle. Take for example the 6, the 6S, and the 7, and also the 10, the 10S, and the 11. And so yes, year 1 is the redesign, year 2 is the S upgrades, and year 3 is the camera upgrades, and what we're seeing with these renders does align with the 14 Pro being the camera year, because much like the 7 Plus and the 11 Pro series, the 14 Pro is going to give us that new 48 megapixel main sensor on the back. But guys, tell me in the comments below what's your thoughts on these renders of the 14 Pro. Anyways, thank you for watching guys, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the link above on details regarding Apple's VR headset, and on that note I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya peeps.